The Environmental Protection Agency is here to make America cleaner and safer for you. Witness the masterful stroke they pulled off recently, changing the color of a river in Colorado to match the surrounding countryside. Because we all know toxic yellow instead of clear blue looks so much better from space. This the same group slamming down on automakers and hitting them with regulations they say are necessary. Others maintain they're overreaching. Another example of bad leadership in government. Shocking. Put the vehicle in park, stay a few minutes. She's the nationally recognized expert on everything automotive, syndicated around the globe as auto and tech expert. No one does it better than the car coach, Lauren Fix. Lauren, always a pleasure to get a chance to talk to you and to hammer away at just what's going on right now in the government. Because here we have, now wait a minute, this sounds pretty smart. Now some people will say, okay, look, the EPA wants automakers to double their average fuel economy rating from 25.5 in 2010 to 54.5 mile per gallon by 2025. Wait a minute. It sounds good because aren't we supposed to be trying to find better ways to use the fuel that we have and not be so pollutable, if you will?
Yes, and politically it does sound great. And, you know, for the average consumer, they're thinking, wow, this is a great opportunity. I can get 50 miles to the gallon. So how are we going to make that happen? Yes, there are those naysayers out there that say they can do that. They've been able to do that for years. The truth is, do you want a car that won't get out of its own way? Because their choices are going to be this: electric vehicles, which don't work for most of us, hybrid vehicles, which I personally don't want, but a lot of people don't, because that's why the sales are only 2%. Yes, 2% of the total sales. Or you can make the automakers make the cars lighter to the point where they may not be as safe. So the fact that the EPA thinks they're doing the right thing, and it sounds good on the surface for you and I, in reality, it's going to cost you, it's going to cost manufacturers, which means they're going to raise prices. And don't worry, they're going to get you, because they're going to raise the price on electricity as well. But there's still more to that story.
Let's go ahead and talk about prices here, because when you say it's going to cost, let's look at the consumer right now and say, all right, you're buying a car that gets 24, 25 miles a gallon right now, maybe costs $30,000. Let's just use that as a number. All right.
Okay.
In your perspective then, in your opinion, how much more expensive is that $30,000 car going to get if indeed they've got to get to 54 or continue to do everything the EPA wants manufacturers to do?
Well, what's going to happen is they're going to have to make cars lighter, use more advanced materials such as they use in race cars and in the space shuttle, carbon fiber and alloys like you're seeing in the F-150. They were able to relieve about 750 pounds off that vehicle. Anything more, and the cars can only get so light before it gets so expensive. So you could be talking anywhere between $5,000 to $6,000 minimum more, because the tooling that's involved, the design that's involved, and then of course it's got to meet crash test ratings. So there's a lot more factors involved, but the fact that they've put the pressure on Chrysler after bailing them out and General Motors, on one hand they say, hey, listen, you know, you got to meet that 54.5 miles to the gallon, and then we're going to bail you out, but you're not getting any more money, has actually put Chrysler and FCA, which is Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, in a very tough position.
All right. Is there any way, in your opinion, you know cars better than anybody, that by the year 2025, we can say that we will hit 54 miles per gallon in a car?
I don't think it's possible. I think it sounds great on paper, but in reality it doesn't. People don't want electric vehicles, one, because of range anxiety, two, because they cost more. It takes almost 7 years for you to start recouping your money on an electric vehicle, especially at the price of gasoline. Plus, you got to plug it in the wall. Our grid, you know, the grid that when it gets really hot out, like we're having right now, we get brownouts. It happens in California. It happens in New York City. There's only so much electricity. And when you're talking about people like George Soros trying to shut down coal plants, that's where you're getting your electricity from. They don't want nuclear power. You can't live off of beanies on the top of your head or solar power or wind power. They're only a small portion of the electricity that we need, and the grid can't support it. Hasn't been updated since Nikola Tesla developed it.
All right, I only got about 60 seconds left here, but let's get right down to the bottom line. America does not want to go 20 miles an hour for the rest of their lives. We like our big trucks. We like our big cars. We're going to want to go fast no matter what it does. So the American public won't stand for this. No matter how you try and shovel it down our throats, we're just not going to go for it, right?
It's true, and look what's selling right now. Cost of gas is down. It's expected to be down through Christmas. And what's the number one selling car? The number one selling vehicles? The F-150 has for the last 37 years. So Ford F-150 and SUVs. Big chunk of GM's profit margin and their sales, as well as FCA, which is Jeep and Chrysler and Dodge and Ram, and of course Ford. So you had Ford, GM, Chrysler, and all the imports. That's why they're coming up with the new Kia Sorento, the new Nissan Murano, the new Toyota, everything, Honda Pilot, everything. It's unbelievable, the vehicles that are being produced that are SUVs that people want. That's what we want.
All right,
you can't make us buy something we don't want.
I got 10 seconds left here. What about those people who say, stop a minute, Lauren, we have the technology. We can have a car that goes 80 miles an hour and does it on electricity. You're just hiding the technology, Detroit.
Right, well, I've heard that story before, but hey, if you're living in New York City and you're forced to have an EV, try telling the guy in your apartment building you're going to run a cord across the street to plug in your vehicle that parks on the roadway, or the apartment building that has outside parking. That's not going to fly. You're talking about liability and other issues.
I just want to see extension cords running for 10, 15, 20 miles apiece, then that will tell everybody what's going on. Here's what's going on. Go to laurenfix.com, find out everything automotive. Thanks, Lauren. The Hardline continues.